Today, we're going to talk about New Jersey Transit's abandoned locomotive problem because it's hella interesting. Now, I don't have a huge amount of footage of these, so what we're going to do is we're going to have two parts to this video. One is going to be this guy down in southern New Jersey, and then we're going to talk about the electric locomotives in northern New Jersey. Well, back here is what I took photos of. How cool is that? This guy is no longer functional and has been apparently on sale for a very long time now. So its fate is probably not good. So let's talk about New Jersey Transit number 502. It was built in 1972. And it spent most of its early life, in Pittsburgh, on the Pittsburgh Lake and Erie as their 1546. It was sold to New Jersey Transit in the late 1980s. And during its time in Pittsburgh and in western Pennsylvania, I couldn't find a whole lot of photos of it actually in action, but PLE had 40 of these locomotives, and they used them all around Pittsburgh. This is one of my own shots from around 1991, if I remember right. I went out there and visited a relative who was living out there, and I took a few good photos of these small little cab end switchers that they had. And PLE had a ton of locomotives out there. Here you can see some more behind shop buildings here in McKees Rocks. All of these shops are gone now, so I really appreciate these photos considering what happened in years afterwards. So it spent its time in Pittsburgh doing a lot of industrial switching. Late 1980s, it came out to New Jersey. It was repainted, I believe, at the Meadowlands Maintenance Complex, which was built and opened shortly before, or roughly at the same time, that these locomotives arrived. And this is probably the first time I saw it. It was in Harrison doing, protect duty on the Northeast Corridor. After its time as a protect locomotive, it was moved over to Hoboken, and it was used as a shop switcher there in the late 00s, 2007, 2008. By 2009, they had run out of uses for it, so they moved it on a Norfolk Southern train down to southern New Jersey, where it ended up in Camden, working on the construction of the new River Line commuter line down there. And it was used as a shop switcher. It was used to help some of the construction work, so far as I've seen. And then by late 2010, we see it in Pennsauken. Here we see it in June. In Camden, still active. Here we see it where it's parked today. And next month is November. It's almost 15 years. It has been sitting in this perch. So let's take a look. Has it moved at all? Nope. 2011, 2012. It's just sitting there, rusting away for years now, years upon years. And the last photo in this website is from 2010, but I just took that video footage just a few weeks ago. So yeah, it's still sitting there in this very same perch and has not moved in 15 years. So this begs the question, should it be saved or should it be scrapped? Long ago, I put together this scale of should it be saved, and 0 being hell no, it's not worth a damn thing, and then 4 being this is a super rare thing that should definitely be saved. I would rate this guy somewhere in the middle. So I say maybe because it's not that unique. There's plenty of SW1500 locomotives out there. I'm going to assume that many PL&E SW1500s are also out there, but I don't think any of their diesels have ever been preserved. So that's an interesting footnote. I also don't know what's wrong with it. It might be easily repaired. It might be something that needs a humongous amount of work, but no matter what, it's still a cab end locomotive those are becoming increasingly rare, and it could be great for conversion and use at some industrial location. The problem here is that New Jersey Transit only wants it to leave on a truck or in a dumpster, and the scrap value at the moment, I think, is a little too low for it to be worthwhile for anyone to take up the effort to take this locomotive apart. The only bid that it has received in its entire time on sale has been from Sims Recycling, and it looks like they put in a $0 bid, because the effort to remove it would make for a tight profit margin So yeah, thanks to capitalism, it's probably just going to sit there rusting. No matter what's wrong with it, it's in far better condition than the RS3 that's parked not all that far away. So I don't have all the facts. I don't know how expensive it would be to move it out of there. I know that that's usually a 5-figure job at the very least. Restoration, I'm assuming, is going to would also be a very higher number value. So yeah, this isn't a cheap project, but if someone was well motivated, you could probably put in $1 bid and New Jersey Transit would probably give it to you. So that's South Jersey. Let's talk about North Jersey with the ALP44 Fiasco. What the hell's an ALP44? There were over 30 of these things built. They are electric locomotives that were used on Northeast Corridor electric lines. And they were built between 1989 and 1996. They were built in 3 separate orders. And they were all retired by 2012, before their federal government loans were paid off. At the time, it became a question of should they retire them or should they rebuild them, because they were all kind of due for a fixer-upper, and they realized that these locomotives could not haul their new 10-car bi-level trains. They could handle like 7 or 8 cars, they couldn't handle 10. They decided to build new ones and mark these old ones as surplus. So they had not paid off these locomotives yet. They were supposed to be paid off at the end of their normal service life, which would have been around now, and instead they were retired a decade before they were usually set to do so. And that left New Jersey Transit owing the feds $27 million. And with this balance, the locomotives could not be repurposed, and they could not be scrapped. And they sat, and they sat, and they sat out in the woods of New Jersey, close to Pennsylvania. And then the local kids started coming. They started tagging up. Let me point out that this is all graffiti from kids in the suburbs. This is not like urban blight. These are basically a bunch of kids who tagged these trains up, who wrote a lot of really anti-Semitic, racist nonsense on them. Later on, after these photos were taken, these were taken around 2018. In recent years, they've been coated with even more graffiti because now more people found out about them, and there's no security. There's people riding through there on dirt bikes. So it's become an even bigger mess than what you see in these photos. I go through all of the embarrassing details of how these locomotives were abandoned in this Abandoned Trains Volume 1. There's a chapter all about these New Jersey Transit electric locomotives. Now, should any of these be saved? Fortunately, one of them has been saved. Number 4424 has been donated to a preservation group. The rest of them will be scrapped. The solicitation for offers to purchase specifically states that they must be trucked out or scrapped where they are parked. This is a very similar situation to the SW1500s, with the exception that New Jersey Transit is actively working to reopen the tracks where these locomotives are parked. It's called Lackawanna Cutoff. They've been working on that route, extending it further towards Pennsylvania. And these locomotives are in the way, literally. It's a big scrap job, and we're going to see if anyone buys them or if New Jersey Transit has to move them somewhere to get them out of the way of the construction, or if they have to pay for their removal like some other transit agencies have had to do over the past decade. We'll see. Nevertheless, I find both of these examples to be really interesting because New Jersey Transit is so good about maintaining their GP40 locomotives, their various variants there, that it became like a newsworthy story this year. It's just such a weird contrast and such a weird managerial issue when it comes to these assets. It's baffling that this happened, and we'll see if this happens again in the future. As I said before, if you want to read more about this topic, the electric locomotives are covered in Abandoned Trains Volume 1, and Volume 2 is dropping pretty much right now, so you will find a link in the description to where you could buy these. I will put them together as a box set, soft cover, hard cover, you name it. This could make cool Christmas gifts for any train nerds you know. So, yeah. I'm not going to shill that anymore. The product sells itself. It's a really cool set of books. If you love this channel, you are going to love those books. Speaking of a little bit of house cleaning. I still didn't get like the payment from YouTube yet with the whole monetization thing, but once I do, I'm going to make that donation I talked about in the last video or two, and I'll post the receipts in the next video. The next video is going to be really interesting, especially if you're like into New York City transit history or just really random old 1800s subway cars in the woods. Yeah, it's going to be a really cool video. So I'm going to start working on that. It's probably going to be next month with how busy October is going to be. But more reasons to like and subscribe, and you'll see the notification when it comes out. And there you go. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Go do some creative things. Go have some fun. Learn some new things. Go. Bye.